Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and this is BP NFL. And it's time, baby. Football is here. It's the best bets for week one. Starting with a fresh slate with my two best friends, Terrell, Furman Jr., and the Undertaker, Andrew Erickson. We are here. Each of the boys have got their favorite bets of the week. And, of course, I'm going to give you the upset special. And gentlemen, we're all excited about football. We're all excited also about the new sponsor of the show, and that is Hard Rock Bet. Now, I know that might be new for a lot of you, and I'm telling you right now, Hard Rock has got some really good lines, a lot of good stuff going on, so I want you to check them out. They are the sponsor of this year's shows, and it's legal sportsbook in the state of Florida. Again, I thought everything was legal in Florida, and look, I'm right. Hard Rock is as well. Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado. More states are launching all the time. Obviously, most of you are familiar with the Hard Rock hotels, casinos. The brand is out there. In fact, the casino is legal in New Jersey because, you know, my people, my cousins, Uncle Joey, everybody knows anything goes in Jersey as well. And as we're gearing up for NFL season, don't forget to sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make that $5 bet right now, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet, sign up today, and make your first deposit. All right, gentlemen, let's get after it here. Terrell, I know you've been working hard. Andrew, I know you've been working hard. Sometimes we overthink, sometimes we overdo in week one. I am taking I'm learning from my mistakes of week one last year, a very measured approach. If you watch a Thursday Night Football show, go back. If you missed it, check it out. Very measured approach. Take my time. I want to see some teams. I want to see a little bit more stuff. Terrell Furman Jr., you're usually hot out of the gate, so I want to come to you here. Let's go, because you're going to be the opposite of me. I'm boring. You're fun.
Yes, and I'm telling you right now, I don't need to see anything. I don't need to see any more. I have seen enough in the past 4 to 5 seasons of this. I don't need to see any more. Daniel Jones is, for some reason, the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. And I don't know if it's the fact that he had a pit stop over there in Minnesota, and so Kevin O'Connell might have fixed him in the 2 weeks that he was there. But there is no reason that Daniel Jones should be laying points for the Indianapolis Colts, who have not won a game in the first week of the season since 2013. There's no reason for this. This is absolutely comical at this point. And for what reason? Okay, the Dolphins might have an injury here or there. As far as I'm concerned, these are all just training camp nicks and dinks that they're going to come in the regular season and just start playing. I'm not afraid about the Colts defense. We know Tua is a chucker, and he's going to make big play after big play. There's going to be some type of 50-plus yard touchdown throw by Tua to either Waddle or Hill in this game. The running backs are good. The only question that I really have that could give me any cause of concern is the offensive line. But, man, I tell you, the offensive line for the Colts doesn't seem like it's the best thing in the world either. And at the end of the day, Daniel Jones is a starting quarterback here. Daniel Jones, 1-4 ATS in the first week of the season. I want nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with the Colts. I gave out the Colts for fewest wins because I'm telling you that the reason Daniel Jones is starting because they're probably tanking. He's not a good quarterback. Everybody told me he's not a good quarterback when he plays for my team, but now he plays for the Colts and he gets to lay 1.5 in the first week of the season. Yeah, all right, man. Give me the Dolphins plus 1.5. This is a survivor entry. This is potentially a survivor entry here. I'm letting you know right now.
Easy. I don't want to be out week one. Survivor entry for me is the Broncos.
I mean, if you use whoever played against the Colts in the first week of the season for the past 12 years, you would have been on the week 2 in the playoffs.
Listen,
so
everybody.
In the survivor. So I don't want to hear it.
I know, but like a rookie quarterback in Mile High against the Denver secondary. No. Maybe a miracle happens and somehow the Titans are competitive in that football game. No. It's just take Denver and move on to week 2. Don't listen to Terrell. But listen to Terrell because I do think he's actually right about this one. And some interesting touchdown scores in this game too. Tyler Warren plus 260. I kind of like that one. And I'm kind of, very optimistic because I got a lot of fantasy shares of Ollie Gordon plus 190. I would have thought that would have been like 2 something as well. Vegas is telling you something about Ollie Gordon. Might want to look at some of those props. Props show tomorrow, by the way. Subscribe to Betting Pros. Again, we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We can do it with your help. Andrew Erickson, what's your first bet for week one you want to throw out to the people?
Panthers on the money line
Oh,
against
we
the
don't learn
Jacksonville
our lesson,
Jaguars.
Joe. We don't
Nope.
learn our lesson.
You know what's
No, we
funny,
did not learn
Terrell?
our lesson.
Andrew, you're gonna laugh. Last night when I was putting the show together, right, getting all the show sheets ready for everything, about 9 o'clock last night, I just randomly plugged in one of the shows from last year, week 4. I just threw one out there, right? We're a couple weeks in, and I just jumped ahead, and literally, it's Andrew Erickson talking about the Carolina Panthers. So I think this is an omen that we are starting back to one. Because Andrew, if one thing I've learned all these years of working with Andrew, he's always a year ahead of the curve. Cortland Sutton a couple years ago. And maybe the Carolina Panthers we saw
Does this
towards
mean
the end.
that the
Go ahead,
Panthers are
Andrew.
going to the Super Bowl next year?
I don't. It's
I
possible.
mean,
Go
if you
ahead,
follow
Erickson.
some of the trends based on what happens in college football with Ohio State and who they play, and when Carolina Panthers play the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1 after Ohio State wins the national, yeah, there's a lot of trends that say that Carolina Panthers are going to have a good year. And I think when we're talking about omens, right? Download the new BettingPros app 3.0. I pull up my recommended bets. What's the number one for week
Oh
1?
my
For
gosh.
me, Mr. Andrew Erickson, the king of the Cardiac Cat Club. Carolina Panthers on the money line is my recommended bet. Thank you, Betting Pros app 3.0, because I'm all there. I think that the Panthers are going to pick up where they left off last year when they were covering every single game, every single week. They covered the spread in 7 of their last 8 games as underdogs last season. They were going toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the NFL, the Chiefs, the Eagles. And yes, sometimes they fell short of winning. That doesn't happen because this week it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Besides the Jaguars playing at home, why is this team on paper so much better than the Carolina Panthers? I think the Panthers have improved their roster on offense and defense compared to last season. Their defense can't be worse than it was last year because it was bottom of the league. Getting Derek Brown. No, not the king of rows, Derek Brown, but Derek Brown in the interior of the defensive line for the Carolina Panthers. I think that matters significantly. And when we're talking about week 1, I want to bet on continuity. I want to bet on growth. We've already seen Bryce Young take a step in Dave Canales' system. Well, Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen, this is a brand new thing. This is new receivers for Trevor Lawrence. Remember, Trevor Lawrence wasn't there during Brian Thomas Jr.'s breakout in the second half of the season. Travis Hunter is a new weapon, a new toy for Trevor Lawrence. So maybe it takes a little more time to gel here. So I'm going with the Panthers with the upset on the road against the Jags.
2 big cats enter. Only one big cat leaves, and it's the Panthers there. All right, Terrell, back to you, and let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. We know the Cincinnati Bengals tend to get off to slow starts, but they have made a concerted effort this offseason to play more, to be prepared, and to stop that bleeding in September that annually haunts the Cincinnati Bengals. So, do you think it's going to be enough here against the Cleveland Browns?
No, because they got a really, really tough draw in the first matchup. Let's talk about Zach Taylor. First 2 weeks of the season, 1-11 ATS in his tenure here in Cincinnati. At this point, that is too good of a trend. That is just that is who he is, and I think it's comical that they thought that playing a couple of extra preseason games was going to change anything. You got to change the man at the top if you want to change this, but they're not getting off the fast starts. So I don't think that the defense is going to be all world improved and changed in week 1. So that's going to be really annoying because that's how you get to Joe Flacco. You get pressure in his face, you get him off his spot, and you get him uncomfortable. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that with the Browns offensive line, which I think is healthy now. It is very good. I think they'll be able to run the ball with Dylan Sampson / Jerome Ford, whatever it is. I think that it'll be enough that they'll be able to move the football. But the thing that's going to plague Joe Burrow, as it has every single time they play against this team, is Myles Garrett and that defensive line. I think they're going to be all over Joe Burrow. And it's the part that makes it really annoying is that they do it without blitzing. They don't have to bring extra defenders to get pressure. The front 4 is very, very good in getting pressure. And now you add Mason Graham into that mix too. I think that they're going to get to Joe Burrow early and often. It's going to get him rattled. It's going to get him upset. It's going to be exactly how they played the Bengals every single time. A ugly, muck it up game. Get in Joe Burrow's face. Don't let him get the ball to his skill position players easily. And next thing you know, the Browns are leading the game by 3, and now Joe Burrow's trying to pull a fourth quarter drive out his behind to be sure that they at least come out with the win. I think this is way too many points. Way too many points. Wouldn't be surprised if the Browns went and got an outright upset because that's just what happens when you have the AFC North flow chart. You see the Bengals playing the Browns and you're like, oh, all right, bet, take the Browns. It's that easy. So guess what I'm doing? Oh, Bengals playing the Browns week 1. Oh, easy, take the Browns. Cool.
See, I
Give me the
think
Browns plus 5.5.
Cincinnati, a much more dangerous pick. But again, we told everybody last year on the show, that was the upset special week 1. Last year was the Patriots. covering and then even to beat outright the Bengals, and one of the few games the Patriots won last year. So this is why you listen to the show.
It
And you
destroyed
should follow
Survivor
us.
too.
Wish they didn't win that game.
Yeah, well, yeah, agreed.
In hindsight,
Whatever. What are you gonna do? Oh, I mean, they were gonna take the lineman anyway, right? Don't you think?
I mean, I wish the Giants didn't win.
They could have traded the pick.
Yeah, I mean,
they would have been able to trade it down. Travis Hunter.
But you know,
Darn
what
shame.
are you gonna do? All right,
Milton.
let's move on to Andrew's pick number 2 for week 1, and this is my best bet of the week. I've already claimed this. We talked about it in the early line show. We talked about the reasoning why. Andrew, I'm sure, is going to bring back some of those arguments, but I love this one Andrew's gotten again. When you download the BettingPros app, make sure you go ahead and you follow Terrell, Andrew Erickson, myself, Joe Pisapia. That way you can see what we are in and what you can tail as well. So Andrew, walk us through the under when it comes to the Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday.
Yeah, I'm taking the under because this game is going to be terrible to watch. I do not want to watch this game for offensive production. This is where I talked about it in terms of fantasy. This is a matchup where fantasy points go to die. Is MetLife Stadium, Jets, Steelers. You have two teams that identify as we want to play defense, we want to run the football, and they don't want to score points.
Yeah,
So
what are their pronouns? Run heavy? Is that their pronoun?
Mr. Run Heavy, Mr. Play Defense. It's just a terrible setup for points. And even though this has the total is the slowest on the slate for week 1, I don't care. Because anything I look at offensively, I could see how the defense can combat it. You look at Garrett Wilson. Okay, well, he's got to deal with Joey Porter Jr. DK Metcalf. Okay, well, he has to deal with Sauce Gardner. The Jets' offensive line. The Jets can't catch a break. They already just lost their best offensive lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker. The New York franchise is cursed, and they just can't seem to get out of their own way. I think this is going to be
more specific about that.
I don't think I necessarily need to be more specific about it. I think that this is a matchup where Fields could struggle as a passer. I don't think that Rodgers is necessarily going to push it necessarily. And when you look at Aaron Glenn, where he's coming from, Detroit, they played a lot of man coverage. What does that mean? Guys are up close to the receivers on the line of scrimmage. Aaron Rodgers, what he did last year, because he's an older quarterback, he wants to get the ball out quick. Well, it doesn't work when the defense is playing against man coverage. So this is an easy under for me. This game's going to be 17-10, and it's going to be a game that I don't want to watch.
Yeah, I think 17-10 would be nice. I'm thinking it's more like 14-9 or something like that. Terrell, you okay? You're tearing up there a little bit. Did I get you? I got you a little bit on this one. It's week 1, I already got him.
It was Eric.
Oh, it was Erickson that got you. Oh,
it was Erickson. It was Erickson.
Look, the pace of play in this game, the ineptitude, the new quarterbacks and new offenses, Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers, old man Rodgers, the injuries to the offensive line. Look, man, of course, week 1, right? So it'll be what, 41-38, right? That'll be the end of this game.
I mean, if there's a bunch of turnovers like that, but I'm okay making that bet. If it's
I am too.
Justin Fields fumbles and interceptions and pick sixes, is that how the game goes over? Then sure, this game.
I've never been more excited to watch an ugly football game than this because of all the narratives that are going on with Rodgers back with the Jets, against the Jets rather, in that stadium, and that weird relationship the fan base has with him, and then Fields. Like, it just feels so gross. I can't wait. Like it's the ugliest football game that I've ever been excited for in my whole life. Terrell, let's go back to you here. Let's go talk about LA. Let's talk about the Rams. What do you have this week for us?
Yeah, I am on the Rams -3 here. Very, very easy play for me. I think that we are making, and I say we as in the community as a whole, are making a really, really big deal about the ghost of Matthew Stafford playing in this game, and thinking that the ghost or the clone or whatever it is, because apparently Matthew Stafford died weeks ago. And so I think that we're making an overly big deal about it, and it's just more of, hey, man, we have an older quarterback who we know is declining in health. We don't want to get him in like anything. We don't want him to tweak his back any type of way. We want literally him to go out there when it's time, when we need him to go get ready to play the season. Matthew Stafford is a vet. Also, Matthew Stafford is literally the person throughout the entirety of his career has always played hurt and balled. Like
Yeah.
literally his entire career. That's what it's been about Matthew Stafford, about how he's been knocked out of games and then come back and thrown touchdown drives. So you're telling me that I'm now concerned about Matthew Stafford with the back injury? He's been dealing with the back his entire career. Like, so I think that it's more the Texans side of the ball that I'm concerned of, because the Texans offensive line is shot. I think that they're going to have a lot of problems with the Rams defense here. And I don't think that that defense for the Texans is going to be able to keep up with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua throughout the course of the entire game. Is it going to be a little bit slow in the beginning? Yeah, sure. It's first game of the season. Matthew Stafford hasn't really been there practicing, getting the report in training camp. But by the second half, that's when Matthew Stafford turns into that dog, and then he just goes out there, he muscles out some wins. And I just don't think the Texans are that level of competition this year. So I love the Rams -3 here. I think they're going to be able to go get it done. I think we're making too big of a thing of the Matthew Stafford back issue.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Terrell. I'm there. And Andrew, you've got some feelings about this game between the Texans and the Rams. So let's get your take on this contest.
Yeah, I like the game total going under 45 points. You look at Houston last year, they played most of their games towards the under. They were 12-7 towards the under in 2024. And, we talk about the Bengals and how they're a slow starting offense traditionally year after year. Well, where does Zach Taylor come from? Sean McVay tree. That's where he learned this trick of the trade, where we don't really care about the beginning of the season, because you look at the Rams, 4 of the Rams' last 5 season openers have gone under the projected game total. Matthew Stafford hasn't seen that many live reps with Devontae Adams. So I think that there are going to be some growing pains with this Rams offense, and that's why it's going to be a lower scoring contest. And when I just look at the strengths of both teams, it's on the defensive line. Jared Verse, Will Anderson. Like, these guys are going to be wreaking havoc in these offensive lines. So I'm looking forward to a game where the defenses are going to dominate. I think that the offense are going to struggle a little bit more. The Houston Texans offensive line is still a major liability. Like, we don't know what it's going to look like. They're hoping that, hey, we just change out all the guys and maybe it'll work against Jared Verse and those guys up front for the Rams.
Only going to work week one, I can tell you
I'm not hopeful that it's going to work week one. So for me, again, I think that this line is above, in this 45 range, or open near this range, because it's Stafford and it's Stroud and it's like Nico and Puka and all these fun guys with fun names and receivers. But when it comes down to, this is going to be decided through the trenches, and that's why I just like the under.
Yeah, and like, these guys haven't played a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't seen Stafford at all. Like, just getting the reps. I think there's a fatigue factor that comes around in the second half of these football games in week 1, 2. It's just, I agree. I'm with you on that one. And I know there's another one you were early in on the early line show. That's why you watch the early line show here on the program. Also, another thing that can really help your betting is our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. We talk all sports all the time. And if you're looking for picks, if you're looking for Q&As, or if you're just looking for, a little help here, or, it doesn't matter if you're an expert person, you want to take your betting to the next level, this is the way to do it. Join our community. It's enormous. Like, I think we're up to 40,000 or so. It's crazy how many people are on there. So go to our Discord, bettingpros.com/chat. Again, you want to get better at this. You want to cash, you want to make sure that you are betting responsibly, and the best way to do it is with the help of our community. And it's a growing one with some great people in it, not just all of us, but obviously also all of the folks who have joined as well. We got some really sharp people in there who know what they're doing. So join the community, bettingpros.com/chat on our Discord. Next up here, let's go back to Terrell for number 4. We got 2 picks remaining here, and then we'll get to the upset special and the parlay of the week. Let's talk about it here. And next up, we have the Raiders +2.5 here. All right, so walk me through this logic here, Terrell. Boo, indeed.
Oh my gosh, here we go. So
boo this man.
Ultimately, this is me a fade of I just don't believe that it's all going to click in week 1. I don't think that we're automatically going to walk in here. You guys just talked about the offensive line for the Houston Texans, and hey, we don't think that offensive line is going to be fixed the first week. I don't think that the Patriots offensive line is going to be fixed in week 1. That left side of the offensive line where they're starting those 2 rookies is a major cause for concern, and I guess Will Campbell's hand size needs to be talked about still. So let's just go ahead and mention that.
It's his arm length.
Oh,
his
arm length.
fine.
His arm length, whatever.
His T-Rex arms.
I thought that was one of the funniest conversations that just continued to keep happening. That I just heard somebody else talk about it, so I felt like, I have to mention it on our show because everybody's mentioning the arm length of this guy on ours. No, I just think that he's a rookie. At the end of the day, there's going to be growing pains along the offensive line, and then you're having a whole side of the offensive line line that's both rookies, I think that's going to be really, really annoying. Also, with Drake May, I understand that we think Drake May is going to make this leap. I don't think that the leap automatically looks there exactly right there in game one. I think Patrick Graham is going to throw a bunch of different looks at him and force him, hey, we're throwing these two safeties up here, so you're going to have to dink and dunk. You're going to have to figure it out down there. And if you take a shot, we are going to make you pay for it. And so I think that this defense is going to be ready to go. I think Pete Carroll's going to have this team ready to go. Geno looks good. And I'm really concerned about Christian Gonzalez not playing in this game. I think Christian Gonzalez is one of the good, really, really good young corners in the league. And if he's healthy, I think that he can have a season that will rival some of the best corners in the league. But he's got to be healthy for it. So if he's not playing in this game, I just think it makes it a little bit harder for the defense as well. I like the Raiders here. I think this is a good spot where the Raiders just kind of come in here on the road and have a really good win against the team that is starting to rebuild themselves and
You're right.
rebuild a culture.
Oh, you're right. No, look, this would not shock me at all if this prediction of yours came true. I'm just looking forward to watching the Patriots being watchable again after the last couple of years. It's been brutal since Tom Brady left. Andrew Erickson, all right, enough of that nonsense. Why don't you talk about Terrell's team instead?
Yeah, he had such great things to say about our team, the Patriots, and now I'm going to come and defend his team.
I know,
the
it's
New
the
York
worst, because I
Giants.
agree, and that's the worst part about this. The worst effing part about this is I agree too, and it's one of my favorite bets of the week. I almost made it the upset special, but like I just think it's safer to take the points. But damn it, I all three of us agree, so it must be either true or horribly wrong. Only one of those two things could be.
Yeah, this is a scenario where it's like that, where it just seems the painting the perfect picture of this Giants upset. You're reminding of those elite pass rushes from those Giants team that beat those elite Patriots teams. And I mean, that's kind of like what you're betting on here, is that this Giants defensive line is so good, it just takes over this game. And the Commanders offensive line, I think, is overrated. They're still missing Sam Cosmi. He's probably not going to play in this game after getting hurt at the end of last season. Yes, they brought in Tunsil, but again, new pieces. How is it all going to gel together? And the Commanders overall last year were just, or like we talked about this on the preview show or the future show when win totals with the Commanders. This team checks off every single box of going to regress. And I think that might happen here in week one. Last year, these teams played tight games. Both were decided by 5 or fewer points. And now it's 6.5 points, 5.5 points for the New York Giants on the road in a divisional matchup. We know divisional matchups can be weird, and we see teams upset them all the time. So I think that New York is in a position here where you have Terry McLaurin. Is he going to be a full go? He's missed almost the entire training camp because of his holdout. Is he going to be 100%, or is it going to be a Jamar Chase where he's out there running routes, but he's really not himself? I think that poses issues for the Commanders offense. And Terrell Furman saw it last year live. We saw Russell Wilson be productive against this Washington Commanders defense on the road and get the Steelers a win. He's already beaten the Commanders on the road as an underdog, so I think that he can do it again. So I think that this is an easy spot for the Giants. Plus 5.5, plus 6.5, whatever the number you can get. That's what I like. And it would not surprise me at all if they just win outright.
It wouldn't surprise me either. And we talked about this yesterday on the show. Bogman and I, we were talking about that same point of Russell Wilson going in there. And I made the point, this reminds me a lot of, 2 years ago, the Houston Texans had 0 expectations and they won that division. They looked terrific. They drafted CJ Stroud, drafted Will Anderson, and they just were great. And then last year they had expectations. And if you remember week 1 last year, it was a slog for them to open in September. They barely escaped Indianapolis with a win in that week 1. Right. And a lot of close games there. And I just think it's going to be a little bit tougher because now everybody knows you're good. Everyone's prepared for you and you have to make adjustments. And that's something we have to see if the Commanders can do before we anoint them as a playoff team yet again. I love what the Commanders did last year, winning 2 road playoff games. Unbelievable. And then especially going to Detroit and just kicking the crap out of them. It was awesome to watch, unless you're a Lions fan, in which case it was heartbreaking and terrible. But I think the NFL is very different when you're the plucky underdog and then you're at the top of the mountain. It's a whole different thing. I think that's what makes the winning teams like the Ravens, the Patriots dynasty over the years, like all those teams that can stay up there over time. I think that what's make them really special. It's hard to be at the top of the mountain and everyone's gunning for you every single time. All right, one more pick here before we get to the upsets and the fun. Actually, we've had fun the whole time. That's a lie. All right, let's talk about the Bears here. Terrell, you and I see differently about this game. I think the Vikings defense is going to give the Bears problems, and I'm on the Vikings in this game, but you are on the Bears.
I understand why you think that. Brian Flores, shout out to Brian Flores. Defense
Hell
is
yeah,
really,
shout out
really
to Brian
good.
Flores. Let's go.
However,
Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, why not?
I think
Hey,
that
we said let's get Jerry O'Connell on the show. I got him on the show. Like I was like, okay, I'll get Jerry O'Connell.
yeah,
Who do you want? Who do you want on the show, Terrell? I'll get him on the show. Who do you want?
It's Mike Tomlin.
Jerry wants to come on the betting
Mike
show.
Like that was a layup.
That was
Mike
a
Tomlin
layup.
deserves it.
That was a layup.
By the way,
Mike
Jerry wants to come on the
for
betting
sure.
show, so I think we should have him on this one. That's what I think. This
I
is the
would
environment.
love to sit across from Jerry Jones and ask some very, very
Jerry
real
Jones.
questions. He would
Okay,
never
Jerry
come back.
Jones
He would
and
never
Mike
come back.
Tomlin. Okay. All right.
All right.
Go ahead. Now talk to me about the Bears and tell me why you're wrong about this.
I am completely right about this because I have the trends to back me, and I just have the overall. Like, yes, I love that you bring up how good the Vikings defense was last year and the fact that they give them some issues, but Caleb Williams was still able to move the ball. When they came to Chicago last year, Caleb Williams put up 340 yards passing. And now, granted, the Vikings did everything possible to try to lose that game to them. But ultimately, he has the confidence going up against against the Vikings defense. And then you're bringing in Ben Johnson, where I think Ben Johnson has taken this entire offseason to say, we're not going to let Caleb Williams go look crazy in the first game of the year. It was so much going on with the offense last season, so many question marks. There was nothing really going on with Eberflus. And so now Ben Johnson is like, hey, I'm telling you that I'm the whisperer and I got it figured out. And we've got this plan. We're going to attack this defense. We're going to go in and go serious. And then it's also the fact of, I don't think JJ McCarthy should be a favorite on the road in his first NFL start. Like, that's just not a good spot. And so you sit here and you look at home divisional dogs in week 1 since 2009 are 24-7 ATS. 24-7, 77% since 2009. Home divisional dogs. It's even better when you have a home divisional dog that did not make the playoffs last year, but the opposing team on the road that is a divisional opponent did make the playoffs last season. That goes up to closer to 90% win percentage when you have a team like that. So I sit here and I look at it and I have a Bears defense that I know is improved. I have an offense that on paper should be better because the man at the top is better. And then I have a bunch of question marks on the Vikings side of ball and just assuming that JJ figures it out in game 1. And I don't think it's going to be that. Like, you're talking about the other JJ has injury issues as well. People want to talk about injuries. We're talking about that. So I just think it's too many question marks on the Vikings side of ball to have them laying points in this spot. I think this is a really good spot for the Bears to just come out there and get a really good win to start their season. I love the Bears plus 1.5.
I love that you casually glossed over the second time those two teams met in Minnesota in December, when the Vikings won 30-12 and they held them to 3 points in the first 3 quarters. They shut them out.
Because that one was on the road and this
half.
one is happening in Chicago.
Yeah.
That
I
was,
get it. It was also the first time they saw Caleb Williams.
Teams are not as good on the road than they are at home. I would assume the same thing, which is why I'm only on this because the Bears are at home here and they're a home divisional dog.
I hear you, but I think when teams got a little taste of what Caleb was and they knew what he was, they started to make the investment.
And that Bears Vikings game, was that after they fired a coach, or the second coach that they had fired, or like the third coach coach they had fired?
I mean, does it matter? I mean,
I think so. I mean, there was no structure there last year.
There was no structure when the head coach was there. Before he got fired, there was no structure. There was Caleb Williams alone didn't know how to watch film. He didn't even know how to turn on the projector. He had no idea. He was like trying to turn
projector.
it on. That's what I mean. He's like, I don't know. What do I do here? How do I do this? I don't even understand. All right, give me your last favorite bet here, Andrew, for week 1.
I think this is actually my favorite bet that I have of my top 5. It's the Broncos -8. I think the Broncos are just going to smoke the Tennessee Titans because this is what we saw last year with Denver. They did not play well against good teams, but they buried the bad teams that they played. When Sean Payton gets a chance to step on the gas against bad teams, that guy's trying to score points. He wants to send a message to the rest of the NFL, to the Chiefs, the Chargers, Raiders. Hey, we're the Denver Broncos and we're here to stay and we're legit. And I think he's going to show that in week 1 of this revamped run game with his 2 new running backs from J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. Last year, the number 1 team in average margin of victory was the Denver Broncos. When they won games, it was by an average of 19 points. Number 1 in the NFL. And Bo Nix, when do you want to bet on Bo Nix? When he's a favorite. 8-0 against the spread as a favorite. Has not come through, or he's come through every single time when the Broncos have been favored by the sports betting market. So I'm just going to back the trends here. And on the other side of it, I mean, look, this really sucks for Cam Ward. He's a rookie making his start in probably the worst environment you could ask for against the best defense last year on the road in Denver. Calvin Ridley's going to get blanketed by Patrick Surtain. It's just going to be a bad setup. And it's Callahan. Brian Callahan is the head coach for the Tennessee Titans, who was the worst NFL head coach against the spread in 2024. So, until I see something different of him getting more out of his team, I just don't think Cam Ward can do it all by himself. And I think that when Ward presses, I think he's going to turn the ball over, unfortunately. So I think it's Broncos all the way -8. I think that you could alt this up to -14. Like, this is going to be a double-digit win for the Denver Broncos.
Alting it is interesting too. You can get some better numbers there. Of course, make sure you're doing all your betting using the Betting Pros app. You want to sync your sports books for free, find the best lines anywhere. That's how you do it. And look at some of these scores from 2024. Broncos Raiders 34-18, Broncos Saints 33-10, Broncos Falcons 38-6. Yeah, they like to pour it on. They do. 31-13 against the Colts.
Sean Payton hasn't forgotten about how the Miami Dolphins team put up 70 on him. Yeah, right? True. Like he remembers that. And
it's hard. How about January? How about January 5th? Well, the Chiefs sitting 38-0. How about that? You gotta love that one, right? That's a good one. All right, let's get to some fun here. The Seattle Seahawks. That's where I'm going for the upset special this week. That's right. 49ers are getting a lot of buzz, man. Everyone's talking about the 49ers. I'm not talking about the 49ers. I think everybody's looking at this saying, oh, everything's just fine. Everything's hunky-dory, right? Christian McCaffrey's fine. Everything's just fine. I don't think it's fine when you lose those kind of big pieces on defense year over year. I don't think it's fine. I don't think people give the Seattle Seahawks defense enough credit, to be honest, of how good they were last year. And I think they're taking it personally. Home underdogs to start the year, a division opponent. If that doesn't rile you up in Seattle, I don't know what does. The building's going to be live. I think Seattle's live in this game. I'm telling you right now, give me the Seattle Seahawks on the money line to upset Welsh's 49ers at plus 115. That's the upset special of the week. And for the parlay of the week, again, I'm just keeping it simple, okay? I'm not trying to add 3-4 legs. I'm just 2 legs of the things I believe in. Now, I already got Denver. I did this yesterday. Denver -7.5. I already got that one. So we good already. So I already locked this one in along with the under 38.5 for the Pittsburgh Jets game. So I put those 2 things together and you can get plus 250. So 2 of my favorite things. That's how you do it. And again, use the same game parlay tool on Betting Pros for all of your same game parlays and for all of the parlays you're going to make at any given time. The correlations are there, all this stuff if you're looking to bet parlays. But for these 2 games, I just feel this, like Andrew said, so strongly about the Jets Steelers being a slog. I feel very strongly about the Denver Bronco game being one-sided. That's a tough spot for rookie quarterback week 1 to go out there into Mile High and beat that defense. Like, that's just a lot. And I do think it's going to be an easy one for the Denver Broncos. But what do you think? What's your upset special? What's your favorite pick of the week? Drop your comments below. And, of course, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Terrell, Furman Jr. and Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Welcome to week 1. The NFL season is here.